What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Core Conversations for Tuesday. It's a Freestyle Tuesday as I adjust everything here. And we got our dad goals. We have you joining us. On these days, it's a time when you can just jump on the screen and join us for the conversation. And I have a few things I want to talk about. I've kind of been reflecting on, and I just love it when you join me to bounce ideas off it so we can all just get better at what we do, how we present ourselves to our clients, to our family and friends, and all those different things. So thanks for joining us, and we're going to just jump right into this as soon as we get some people in the room. Good morning, everybody. Leo, loving your pictures. I saw Tasha's her picture that you did for her. She posted the other day, so looking fierce, man. Good stuff. Hi, Connie. Hope everyone's doing well. Just sending a few notes to some people here. Leo, if you want to join me on screen, I'd love to just chat with you for a quick second about what you do. Shannon, how are you? And Joy, what's going on? Shannon, I'll be reaching out to you. We're going to start to do some canvassing for the campaign, and I'd love your support out there. In the mean Meadowville streets, not so mean, actually just really great people. So yeah, let you know about that. Yesterday was fun. We had Misty Lynn Cawthon join us for a kind of an impromptu conversation after we did our thing. I had a few guests on yesterday, and some of those chats were lost due to some stuff that happened on the screen. So It's interesting how this happens. It doesn't happen very often, but there's been a few times where I've been spammed, yeah, unfortunately, I had to lose the whole conversation. So there's some brilliant things that were said by Gary, Fit for the Call. He joined us, and the second person who joined us was, who was the second person? So good. Anyone remember who he actually was? It was on impromptu. So, and I had to. It's actually unfortunately because of the thing that happened where someone came on. Okay, good. So no worries. So Leah, let's book you in. I'd love to have you on for a conversation. And Leah, even as you see your photography there, I've had DJs, I've had professional athletes, I've had boxers, I've had just a cross section of different people, because we're all, one, service industry people, and two, we're just moving from our place of passion. So love to have you in the space and just talk all the things. Even Michael Lambie in here is an interior decorator a few weeks ago, interior designer. Awesome conversations. People are for real. Like, you're here because this connects with you in some way. So I love to have you on so people can hear about the man behind the brand. That's how we do. So anyway, so back to yesterday. So Sunny Ahmed was the second person. So Sunny is just going through this transition. Just moved to San Antonio, and hi Diana. She just moved to San Antonio. So she was just sharing how she's moving to a new city. She's taking on classes. She's taking up Zumba classes. She's doing things, learning new things, and it's so inspiring. Like, she's so accomplished as a Pilates person. Her Going More Joe initiative, has been such an educational piece for so many people, and she's well respected in the industry. So, to a point where she walked in, and this lady who has this studio gave her the keys for the studio. That implicit trust in her work and her character. So, I hear that as a challenge to, one, to be consistent in my work, two, to continue to learn and to educate myself, and as Sunny was saying too, not be afraid to laugh at yourself along the way. So she's like talking about how the Zumba class is just super fun, and she's continuing to do it. So yeah, so I hope that you hear all of those things and you're like, hey man, like, I need to just step up my game. I need to try something new, put my neck on the line, embarrass myself, have fun with it, and get better. And that's exactly what Sunny's doing. So that was a conversation with Sunny. Look through some of our archives and hear the conversation that we had. She is just such a rich Pilates history that she brings, and she's a blessing to so many of us. So kudos to her. Gary was in as well, Fit for the Call, and just this intersection of spirituality and faith and movement, and how all those things tie together for him, and how he is such encouragement to many. I see he's connected with Seeds for Greatness with Stefan and for others, and these guys are doing it. There's some really influential people out there who know their worth and their self-worth. So that's what I want to talk about, and I'd love to hear from you in the chat as I talk this through, what you think about this. I love cars. I like driving cars. I like, the newness of them, all those things. And I think there's something about a special car. And when I got into personal training and I had some in-home clients, I quickly felt like I need to get a better car. I'm pulling up to like a $2 million house. Guys I know are super affluent, and I didn't want to pull up in my car that I felt like was just like subpar, or like just like a beater or whatever it is. So I felt like I needed to project like I was successful with the car that I drove, because of the size of the house of the people that I was going to do an in-home personal training session with. I've kind of moved on from that, and I realized why I was doing it at the time, but now I'm at a place where I don't care, right? And the car that I drive, I have a 2001 GTI. I could get a newer car, but I don't feel like I need to prove anything to anyone by having like this fantastic new lease vehicle just to prove that I'm making money or I'm successful. There's a sense that the optics of how I present myself don't matter anymore. And it makes me think about that, just for the fact that, like, why is it that I needed to have a fancy car to prove that I'm successful in my work? Why is it that I needed to feel like my the stuff that I had proved that I was worth something. But the very simple, superficial example of, as a personal trainer, I wanted to have a nicer car pulling up to people's houses to do a personal training session. Jenna Zaffino, what's going on? It's always funner when Jenna is in the screen with me, so if you want to join in, you're more than welcome to. I'm just starting to talk about the self-worth thing, and I want to unpack it in a few different ways. First of all, looking at, in a sense, our perceived self-worth, when we have to get stuff or prove that we have, like by the things that we carry and the things that we wear. Why is it that that's so important to us? Why is it that that piece needs to be something that we present? And a simple example is, as a personal trainer driving in, wanting to have a nicer car pulling up to $1 million home to do a personal training session to prove like I'm important to, or I'm successful to. What's your thoughts on that before I kind of continue to move with this? Because I'm going somewhere. Jenna, give me a thumbs up if you want to join me, and we'll keep the conversation going. Leo, do you feel like that? You're coming to do a photo shoot and people see you pull up in your, I don't know what kind of car you have, but like, is that same in that industry, the photography industry, like you don't want to show up like a starving artist or that sort of thing? Yeah, no worries, Jenna. You don't have to jump in. Or you can while you're driving, it's your call. But I want you safe either way. This is an example that someone gave me at the door. I was doing some canvassing for my city council, Mississauga, Read for Ward 9, Team Read, all that stuff. And this guy was talking about the confidence that we bring to the table, the way that we present ourselves. And this is an example that he used, which I thought was a brilliant, very connected example for me. Let's say I'm at the gym and there's a guy who is like 6'5", bodybuilder, 235, 8% body fat, just absolutely ripped. Say he's like 21 years old and he's doing some training there. When I look at him, am I intimidated by that? Do I look at that and think, okay, wow, I need to work out more? Do I look at that and be like, wow, this guy must know what he's doing because he is like shredded? Or do I look at him and say, okay, I've been in the business the same as this guy's been on the planet. I do Pilates, so I'm probably stronger than him in his weakest joints. Probably seen a few more things in terms of different variables of people coming to me. All the things coming to, so I'm not intimidated by his appearance, even though he looks better than me. There's an understanding of the knowledge, the experience, the lived experience, the things I've seen and done that gives me a sense of confidence. And I don't have to tear him down to know who I am. And it was just a kind of a basic example from a physical appearance, like the car, that helps me to understand who I am in this world and my self-worth. Do any of you out there ever struggle with your sense of worth just from that physical appearance? I'm not wearing the right brand. My nails aren't done. My whatever. Like anything real talk. Do you guys ever go through that? Ever feel like that at a base level? And if you're honest enough with yourself and you do, how do you talk yourself out of that? How do you talk yourself through that? What are the messages that you send to yourself to remind yourself of your worth? Stefan, what's going on? So I just throw that out there. Yes, there's so much to say on this. Absolutely, Jenna. Whenever you're ready, we can do this. The reason why I'm saying this is because, like, there's so many different elements and so many different ways to hit this. I'm seeing, as a as a Pilates person, as a fitness person, we're helping people navigate self-worth issues all day long. And it could be an attack on their self-worth. It could be an injury that is caused it to plummet. It can be just where they're at in this world, this collective trauma due to COVID or whatever else. There's so many things that can put people in a place where half of our job is just helping them remember who they are. So I'm going back to those places where I had to remember where I was. All right, C's for greatness. You're coming on right now, and I feel like I have this like. Here, let me see this. Sorry, guys, if the screen comes up into something that's not supposed to be. It works. All right. How's it going, man?
It's going awesome.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Yes. Have you the example I just used about the car, like feeling like you need to have a better car, present like you're more successful than you are, or whatever it is, that sense of externals determining your self-worth. Have you ever been in that spot where you have to check yourself because you're doing things to just like put yourself out there in a different way?
Yeah, plenty of time. I mean, even like I would say probably this week. I mean, we're only into Tuesday.
That's
I had to take a time out and like tap myself on the shoulder and hey, no, wait a minute. You're building something here, so you can't, try and fake certain things. Just, be your authentic self. You want to, attract the right people at this level so that, when you get to the next level, you built the right foundation. So you don't need to be any more than what you are. Just, be humble.
Yes.
And let people, feel who you are, but also see who you are.
True. Let me get Jenna's comment here. I think part of it is not so much being intimidated by the way someone else looks, but rather by how a client has been conditioned to perceive a trainer's value based on looks. Right. That sense of like we project out what true value is, and then that bouncing off of them, right? Like.
Yeah. And that's always, I think that's a tough one because just, the environment that we live in, we got so many messages showing us what people want us to perceive to be, that you always got to fight to get, have your original voice, like that topic we're talking about. What's the voices or the messages you have going through your head?
Yes.
That is really on point.
Yeah, absolutely. That's those are and in the setting of the counseling, personal training is counseling, and client, all apply stuff is counseling. In those contexts, it's like we have to be the authority on what success is. Like we have to be the authority on what is really important, what's really of worth to them, right? Like, so I mean, they're going to come in with I want 6-pack abs, or I want my butt to look like this, or I want to be ripped, or I want to get big arms like you, or whatever people would say. And then we have to bring them back to like, okay, well, what's important to you? What is realistic? All those different things, and keep reinforcing those messages in terms of that. And actually the other part too is what one of my other guest said is like, let's start with this. She goes like, you're beautiful right now. Like you're awesome right now. You know what I mean? And it's like, let's establish how good you are at this point. And then if you want to discuss where to go next, we can do that. But let's embrace that piece first.
I like that. Yeah. Start with where you always, take a hard look at where you're at. That's where that self-reflection part is important for me. Because when I'm able to take a really close look and be real with myself, which a lot of times is not comfortable, then I can actually, move forward. But it starts with ourselves. It's, what seed are you planting in yourself or allowing to grow? Some
Sure.
seeds aren't good. Weeds aren't good, especially those negative thoughts in your head. So you gotta unplant those negative seeds, which are weeds, which are usually negative self-talk or
Yep.
listening to someone else's self-talk, and plant some beautiful vegetables in your garden that are going to give you some long-term
For
nutrition,
sure.
and set your own foundation every day,
Absolutely.
every day.
We there's a great saying I heard the other day. Like we have enough enemies out there in the world. Don't be your own enemy as well.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I I love that. Yeah, don't be
You
your own
know,
enemy. Wow.
right? And I
I,
think that that's we're so good at that.
yes, bullseye.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
so good at it.
How do you do it, Martin? How do you? I know you got some techniques that you use,
Well, I
for.
think yeah, there are some techniques, and the one technique, Piercy, what's going on? Actually, Michael Piercy, if you want to join us, it'd be great to have you in this conversation. If you got a minute, give me a thumbs up if you want to jump in. Um, the the way that I look at it is there's going to be those times that we have those challenges, and I think I always have to come back to what those checkpoints were. Like I was like, I'll give a perfect example. I think it was last week. Okay, good. I'm gonna bring him in. And I'll answer your question when she comes in. Piercy.
What's going on? What's going on? Let me turn this music down. I'm in the car leaving the post office. I said, let
Nice.
me hop on there. What's going on, brothers? How y'all doing?
Thank you, man.
Yeah,
If you
real
can,
good.
if
What's up, Mike?
I'm so glad. Do you guys know each other?
Yeah, well, we know everybody, man.
That's right. That's
It's
how
the
we do.
human community, Martin. Everybody watching your show, man. Everybody watching. That's how we know.
Exactly. I just love Michael's energy. That's why I was like, "What's up, Mike?"
Yes,
It's
I
all good. No
figured.
worries, baby. I appreciate it. So go ahead. Don't let me interrupt.
All
I'll
right.
get in where I fit in. Y'all was having a good conversation. I was vibing.
That perfect example, this right here. So like those checkpoints, right? So those moments when you feel like you're down or you're being challenged in it, or you need to kind of hype yourself up to jump into a new endeavor. I always go back to those points where there was someone who was affirming me. There was someone who was cheering me on. There was someone who recognized something that I did in the past. And just remember, okay, well, there's someone out there that's cheering for you. So like, why don't you jump on their train of cheering for yourself as well?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So what happens for me then is, especially with this, is I'll like take a screen recording of like our conversation from last week where Stefan was talking about, I think we were talking about the campaign and just stepping out to doing something different and like the boldness and all those things. It's so easy to get into a place where like I've never been this place before. And Pierce, to you as a trainer, you could appreciate this. You have 50,000 exercises in your head. You know what I'm saying? Like you have
No
this
doubt.
library, you have this catalog of everything for every situation. You're ready. And then you step into a new arena and you have 5 exercises. And then you think,
Mm-hmm.
what if they throw something at you and you're not ready for it, right? You don't have that same confidence because it's a different arena. I have
Mm-hmm.
to go back to somewhere else where I do have that confidence to be okay, take all that with you into this new arena and you'll figure it out.
Yeah. I always look back to that and I talk to my guys here, and it's just like I remember, having like my first football like pro client. It's like and when you look at it, you think back to, the basics. When I remember training him, and just basic things like plank and all these other things that we did later on, I realized that he wasn't really efficient at it. And the reason why is because the majority of trainers that he had throughout the years, what they did is they stayed up late night, thinking of excuse my language, thinking of hard shit for him to do, right? Because
Yes.
you're like, oh, I got this client, and in the levels of, you start thinking that you need to go a level beyond what got you there, right? So
Yes.
it's like, it's having confidence in what got you there, you know, obviously we all got to improve, but certain thing got you into the situation that you got to, right? So it's like your first speaking, you know, or doing that first conference presentation,
Right.
or doing some other things. We often think that like now we got in this situation, we need to like, you know, go to this above and beyond level. And it's not always true. You know what I mean? Obviously, like I said, we should always strive for lifetime learning and improvement. And I think that's, you know, why we on here, you know, kicking it to get better. But for the most part, something got you into the situation. So it's to build off that, you know, and when we think about like what you was just saying, not to be super wordy, I found it to be the more prepared I am in those situations, the more confident I feel, you know. So I might have that library of 5 exercises, but that's going to put me in a tough spot if I just try to go in and wing it. If I sit down and I really work through, I'm training Martin today, what's the needs of what he's doing, sit down, put it on paper, and then I got that there so that when I'm going through things, it's a map. I might go off and go to Wawa somewhere on the way, you know, or 7-Eleven if it's a map when you're driving, right? But at the same time, I can always come back to the road that I was traveling. So not to get super wordy on y'all. Sorry about that.
No, that's good.
Get wordy. What are you? Hey, Mike. So with
yes, sir.
With all athletes who are trying to get to the next level, probably both of you guys, because you guys are both trainers. What are the top 3 things that you think the athlete needs to bring to the table, and you can also that you need to bring to the table for them as well?
You going first or I'm going first, Martin? Who's jumping first? Who's jumping in the pool first?
I'll throw out a term. The first thing that came to mind is a term I heard this guy, one of my clients, talk about when his son went to the UK, and he was talking about his coachability index. And I was like, I am totally taking that term, because I think that is the thing above everything else that matters. It's just like, what is a coachability index? Did it come in all cocky and not ready to learn anything? Or, you know, are they like a high level athlete and they're treating it like they're just a sponge ready to absorb everything that you bring to them, right? So it doesn't matter what their ability level is. It matters what their coachability index is. Like, how teachable are they?
I love it. And that's so powerful. Like when you think of coachability, that takes me to answer that question, I guess that's kind of a loaded question, but to be honest, some of the top things that you need to look at, I think, I won't say that you need to look at. In my experience, what I think about is where are they in their journey. So if you look at kind of what I enjoy at this point, like really working with a lot of athletes that are college, high school, young athletes, because in their journey, it's a chance for you to be very impactful. And when you think of what should they be bringing to the table, it depends on where they are in that journey. So when you're working with a pro, it depends on where they are in the career, right? If I'm 10, 15 years in, we're looking at injury prevention and things like that, and where they are mentally, because at some point they might be shutting it down mentally, going through the motions or something different. And if you're not on the same page with that, it's going to be tough for you to kind of try to drag them along. With younger athletes, it's the love for what it is. You'd be shocked how many athletes, you know, especially like I'll think of my own experience, like baseball, you know, how many athletes you have that spend time, 20 AAU teams, do club teams, everything else, and then they don't really even love it. They're doing it because, you know, somebody's dragging them off to this, don't even watch the game or whatever it is. For me, like, I was out of control as a kid, you know what I mean? But if the Cardinals was playing the Mets back then when you had all them base stealers, I could sit in front of the TV for 20 hours and watch them play, you know what I mean? Because I just love baseball. That was a calming factor for me. So to circle it back around to your question, I think that's, if I want for the athlete to come devoted to try to get better, but when I look at it, it's better in all phases. When we think of training, we think of physically, right? But we're always training human behavior, coachability, like Martin was saying, things like that. From my perspective, I think that when you look at it, we both got to be there. It's a commitment that we both make on our own. My commitment to you is to show up and be prepared and to try to be able to coach you to the next level that we, you know, as a team, we believe you can go to. And that's really when I look at the devotion to what we do. So much now is like the next drill or whatever it is and stuff like that. And that's all great. But when it come down to it, it's a really minute fraction of what we do, right? At the end of the day, you're trying to prepare an athlete to be able to go into, especially now with mental health and things like that, is how you're preparing people to handle success, handle failure, and things like that.
And actually, Percy, with that, is one of the guys I had on before is like a physiotherapist and conditioning coach. And he said one of his proudest moments was watching the whole team do like a bunch of dynamic warm-up exercises that he had taught them. And then there's another team doing it. And then there's other teams that are doing as well. And they were saying, what's his name again? I can't remember his name, but they're saying like, let's call him Coach K. They'd be like, those are Coach K exercises. Right? So the kids, they don't understand. They don't know a dynamic warm-up. They don't know hip mobility. They don't know the names of anything. They just call it, those are all coaches' exercises. You know what I mean? So when you set up young athletes in a way that you're setting up the rest of their career from now, you know, that was just a proud moment for him when they just call it, those are just coaches' exercises. They do it, and they'll do it. They'll take it to their next team, and they may be a leader and lead their next team through those dynamic warm-ups and stuff. He's long gone, but like those principles run with them, right? So I think those are good moments.
Yeah, it's so dope because what you're teaching so much is athlete management. You know what I mean? You're teaching the athlete to manage themselves, you know, and at the end of the day, that's really what it is. You know, when you go into competition, no matter what sport it is, you know, you're going to be in charge of yourself, you know, how you deal with whatever situation it is, how you deal with, you know, success, failure, and so many different things.
Yep. Can I just run with that word athlete management for a second? Because like, there's Pilates people in this space that are just shrugging their shoulders right now, like what we're talking about. But that's like self-agency, right? That's ownership. That is like, you know what I mean? Taking control and like all those different things, like all those pieces. We don't have to be talking athletes, everybody. We can move this to, you know, the person who just like comes in for their Pilates session a few times a week, and you want them to, or just a personal training session, where you want them to own their fitness journey.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So first of all, I love both of your comments because I knew you guys have the experience, you guys have the history, and the way you guys would say it would give some insight to like both sides of it, because we've all been athletes before we're doing what we're doing now, right? And even then, I'm sure like all three of us, when we came to whatever sport we were playing, we brought a certain amount of, you know, energy and intent to it. And so that's the part where I talk about responsibility, because like there's so much hype to like have a mixtape out there, or, you know, like blow up like Instagram sensation. I'm just like, damn. Well, you've been doing it like 2 years. You just now got into it 6 months and you already want to start on the basketball team and the football. Like, dude, you don't want to hear my story. You don't want to hear I'm, you know, sitting on the bench for all of my high school years and, you know, first year of college, and then I kind of got on the field, and then my junior year and senior year, I started, you know, getting people to notice. But it was like all the years I was sitting on the bench, putting in work that made me good. So it's just like you got a responsibility as a, you know, athlete to like stick with it and like come and just bring your A game, even if you ain't starting. You know, you got to. So
no doubt.
That's true.
You know what? There's two. So at my place, there's 2 required watchings, right? There's 2 documentary. Well, that's a lot. That's 3, but you know, there's actually 3. You know, so I'll give you the 3. So one is the 30 for 30 Survive in Advance with Jimmy Valvano. For any coach, if you don't watch that, you're crazy. You should. I watch it 100 times. If it comes on, I'm gonna watch it. But if you haven't watched it, it's worth the hour. The second one is the Allen Iverson documentary. I'll tell you why. And then the last one's The Last Dance. So The Last Dance is just great because you could pull out so many things, right? Yes. But you just dropped one where you said mixtape and all this other stuff. And whenever you think about Instagram, viral, all this other social media, there was one thing when we all know Michael Jordan. We grew up watching Michael Jordan. I was a Knicks fan. He cut my heart out every year. So every year I thought it was going to be different. Every year it was just the same heartbreak. But when you look at it, he said there's so many jewels in there, but the one thing he said to just piggyback on what you gave just now is he said, if I didn't play well, nobody be buying sneakers. Everybody talks about all the sneakers and everything else, but at the end of the day, for him, the focal point was just, what's the product? Obviously, it was a different era because now you get bombarded with so many social media things to be doing. But he said, like he said, he was like, listen, if I didn't have this excellence on the court, you know what I mean, nobody would be buying any sneakers, right?
Yeah.
So it's like when we look at like kids and stuff, that's why there's so many things in there. It's like they have to watch that one. Iverson, I give that one because it's just a study in like how you could be at the lowest point. Like you watch like Mike Tyson and Allen Iverson, you could be at your lowest point in jail. You went from having every college in the country wanting to have you to nobody. Your mother's got to call John Thompson to be like, please take him, you know? So, but so that's a little bit on that. But I thought it's so powerful what you just dropped because it's true. It's everybody wants to be a rap star. Like all athletes want to be rap stars. All rap stars want to be athletes.
Yep. My client this morning, we were talking about storytelling. It's almost like flipping the script to what you just said there. The contrast is like powerful storytelling goes somewhere too, right? Because I could be
no doubt.
I could be excellent and not tell my story, and then no one knows that I exist. So there's that push too, right? So we were talking about this morning, like we all three of us are pretty humble, right? Like I'm not gonna like we could go on about like Piercy's book and his printer of the year. And
Thank you, brother.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but he didn't open with that. So someone has to be like, okay, sometimes you have to open with that. Like, you know what I mean? Sometimes people need to hear that story, and you don't want to. You don't want to open with that for true. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but people need to hear that that's part of your accolades. That's part of your accomplishments.
I appreciate it. That's why I got friends like you, Martin.
Well, there you go,
I can't leave with that. I appreciate that though. But yeah, it's, you know what? The funny part about it though is, and then we talk about us three, and you think about it, right? But I think that, you know, in the past I had a coach that used to say this. He's like, you have to be careful. And I think it was Willie Upshaw who played in the big leagues for many, many years. And one thing he told me, he was like, you got to be careful, Mike. He's like, because one thing you're going to do is, like, for us, people that are like achievers or you're humble, you move from one accomplishment to the next very quickly because it's when you're in sports, it's a what have you done for me lately type of thing, right? The championship you won last year, it lasts only to the parade. Now you back in the gym 3 days later on, you know, and you mentally telling yourself you ain't worth a you know what, you know what I mean? Because or somebody, you got to find some. That's another element from The Last Dance, right? What do you find that, you know, somebody said or somebody did that gets you fired up to go
again.
Like, you know what? And he was a master at it. That's why so many people would laugh and made memes about it. But if you're an athlete, you know, you got to be like, oh, you know, Martin said I ain't what did he say? And he didn't want to come to my table and say hi. What? Okay. All right. Okay. It's like that.
It's on. Yeah.
It's on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, I think that at some point, right, I think that you don't want to live in old accomplishments, right? It's so much more things for us to do and so many things that we could bring. And everything that we do is a service to people that we see. So it's like for you with your show, it's an inspiration. Like you inspired me. I went and created Lab TV and started doing, you know, some little IG lives with people and just to talk and stuff like that. But we all inspire each other by the things that we do. And I think that that's an amazing thing to be a part of.
Amazing.
Yeah, I really admire the consistency, man. Every single time you're on point.
Oh yeah. Martin, ain't no joke with this.
With everybody, Martin. So
man, well,
that's
Stephen, you know that from football, man. Like you're not consistent. You're not seeing the field.
Yeah. So. Someone for you, you know, you're not gonna get the results you want. Consistency. A lot comes out of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, have you guys with David Goggins?
Mm-hmm.
You familiar with David Goggins?
Yeah, no doubt.
How he talks about using the darkness, you know, to help you get to the next level. how suffering is such a,
Thanks,
a
Jenna.
big piece of motivation if you use it right.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. I think the timing of his message is really poignant right now because if you can put in your mind, like, okay, I got a goal, it's going to take me 2 years, but if it takes me 5, I don't care. And I'm going to, like smash it every day if I make it happen.
Mhm.
That that still works.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Even
right.
nothing about the goal you're going after. It's just like, here's where I want to get to. I'm gonna
Yes.
find a way to get there, and I'm gonna hit it every day hard till I get it.
Yep.
That works.
And that works because Seed for Greatness. Here's a plug for you and your business right here. You talk about the word seeds, and the principle is the same. Like if we put the seed in the soil, water, sun, fertile soil, it's gonna work. Whether it comes sooner or later, it's going to work. The principle is gonna work.
It's gonna work. Yeah, yeah,
Right?
right. So failure is really and we've heard this so many times. It's just another way to learn, and
Yep.
you don't run from it. Like embrace it. Go like hell yeah. I hit the ground, but so what? I got another way. I know that ain't gonna work. So let me try this.
Yeah.
Here's oh sorry, Chrissy, go ahead.
No. I was gonna say that everything, and you bring up David Goggins and so many things. I love what I love about him is just a different. It's him. It's like E.T. the hip hop preacher. You have what I like about those. I'm a motivation type of guy. I use that in my brain too. It's kind of like that. When I think of Michael Jordan, think of like thinking of little spites to go. For me, it's like how can you get this? Because I think the inner conversation is very important. We talk about
Yes.
confidence. And it's how
Yes.
we have, especially we'll hit on athletes, but it's everybody in general, right? So it's how we talk to ourselves and how we motivate ourselves, what the things that
Yep.
we think about it. So
Yep.
you get to a certain point, like I love like David Goggins because it's just a different spectrum. He's more in your face, and some people respond to that. I think people respond to things differently, right? So
Yes.
every coach, they all respond to things in a whole different way, right? So
Yep.
when we look at that, I love his is in converse to like a Jack Canfield. If you ever read the Success Principles, I think it's probably my most favorite book. I think that if you had a manual for like your life, I always tell people ask me that's what's your favorite book? The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. I got it so many years. They had a reprint. I read it all over again because there's so many things that you don't like hit on that you don't think about. And you're like, and one of those things was inner conversation that you have with yourself.
Yes.
That
Yep.
usually, what does somebody say? It's how you water. Weeds don't take any watering to grow. They can grow through concrete, right? You know what I
Yes.
mean? So in your
Yes.
brain, that's like, your mental process is important, right? So your weeds
Yes.
will grow up just on their own. It's like, man, I suck. Man, I'm like this, man. That,
It's true.
but if you,
Yeah.
Yeah,
but if you want to grow like special flowers and shit like that, you got to have special processes and things that you do to
Yes.
get them in the right. So we think about planting those seeds, right?
Right.
So when I look at that, it's so interesting. It's the things that you obviously your intake, right? When you look at what are you taking in on a regular basis, and some people
Right.
go to the grips to manage that, but it's how you process whatever it is that in those situations where shit kind of sucks. The words that you say to yourself, that mental coaching on a
Yes.
regular basis. So I like Goggins and things like that because everybody responds differently to coaching, and we know that as coaches.
Yes. Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
people don't respond to yelling. Some people respond to, "Hey, listen, I've been where you've been," and talking to them in a different way.
Yeah. Now I realize right now that motivation piece or that Michael Jordan piece when it comes to this campaign. And I'm gonna say this to you guys. Don't judge me, people, but this is what I do. So there's been a few times already before this campaign's already started where people have double crossed me.
Oh wow!
There's been people who've come out who've called me out on stuff. Someone who said like straight up, I'm not gonna vote for you because you support this person. That sort of thing, right? So that's fine. You know what I did? I wrote down their names, and in my head, they're gonna be in my thank you speech when I win.
Why would they judge you for that? That's the way it's supposed to be. You remember Michael Jordan's thank you speech where he still wants to, he's still mad at
I'm
the
like,
dude he hit the
yeah, exactly. It's like you start to pick in your head. It's like every time I don't feel like doing something, I was like, I gotta win this so I can get them in that thank you speech. Thank you to X for the time you said I'm not gonna win. Thank you for this person who said I'm not gonna vote for you. Thank you to this I'm probably not gonna do that, but that's my motivation day to day. You know what I'm saying? Like it's in my head. Everyone who tries to knock me down right now, that is the person that's gonna be my thank you speech when I get there because they motivated me to keep it going.
But that's your driver, and that's that. You know what? I think that's so amazing, because what happens is I think that you get to a point where you can kind of just be going through the motions, you know. And we hit on athletics a lot here, you know what I mean? Like I said, you get to a point where you just like, I'm just kind of flying along, and you know, this has worked in the past, so I'm doing it now. So you need a little bit of something that somebody did to just be like, you know what?
Yeah, haters, and you're like, man, that's what's get you going. Love it.
Yeah, it's like Cat Williams said, if you ain't got no haters, you ain't doing much. You gotta have somebody. You know?
Thank you for quoting the great Cat Williams on the show.
Hey, listen, you gotta have everybody, man. You know, so I had one of my girls that's a basketball player. You know, and she went away to Spain, and she has this great moment where it just went viral, right? So it's like she did a, you know, behind the back kind of cross, the girl falls, you know, makes a shot. The whole world loves it. You know, 7 million comments, and then one guy, you know, comes in and says, "Oh, well, it's such a horrible shot." So I just look at it. She's like, "So yeah, I gotta hate her." I'm like, "Yeah, that means you arrived." So somebody decided that they didn't like the shit that you did. You know, some guy that's in his mother's basement, you know, in his pajamas, you know, no, with a cat picture or whatever it is. He doesn't like your shit. Whatever, man. You know what I'm saying? With a cat as his profile picture, no pose or whatever. So it's like, such a bad shot. You're such a horrible person, Martin. Nobody should vote for you. Yeah, that's great. Okay.
Chris was off when you release the ball. You know, come on now.
Yeah, that's how it is. But you know, it's like, all right, cool. You know, so you should have that motivation.
Yeah.
You know,
that's so funny.
Brother, that's awesome. Oh, real quick, since you mentioned campaign, Martin.
Yes.
This will be very poignant to you. If you have not read it, you might have. Barack Obama's book, The Promised Land.
Yes. It's so funny. I have it. I started to read it. I put it down because I think, okay, man, this is not Michelle Obama's book. It's a different vibe altogether. And then I started the campaign, and it came alive to me. So I'm reading it again. So yes.
Okay, man. So the reason why I read the book, my intent was I want to know why, how the hell a black man in America thought he could be president when, you know, it ain't never been done before. We never thought that could happen. I want to know from his words, because obviously, you know, we don't run in the same circles right now. Yeah.
Not yet.
But I get there, I read you. I wanted to know, first of all, how you did it, why you wanted to do it. That's everything.
Yeah.
At least in my world. And when I read that book, nobody believed. Not even not even Michelle.
Yeah.
Long time before she got on the same page
with him.
His own staff had to convince her, like, he's not gonna really go to the next level till you fully embrace this thing. Because her thing was like, you know, when you get out of politics, we can have that family I always wanted. You know, we can settle down. I can work for a law firm. But she had to buy into his dream because he was committed to her, and it wouldn't work unless she let go of what the life that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So fully support him, but they were having knockdown, drag out fights to the point where he was just like, he would go to his own space, and they would talk in the morning, that type of thing.
Yeah.
You know, he would like have like a couple of beers before he went to bed. It was like deep. I
Yeah.
said, whoa, man. Why
Well,
he
yeah.
Democratic nominee and all that kind of stuff. It took her a while, like, to really like say, okay, I'm gonna support my husband. Because the whole time she was like, well, when you get out, okay, we're gonna do this.
Right.
But he didn't want, and he had a really difficult time convincing her, like, I can be president.
Well, okay. Well, I know we got to close out soon, but like the thing that I read during that segment of the book, and then you just touched on it there. There's this moment in all of our lives where we think to ourselves, you know what? Maybe I can do this.
It's off.
That maybe piece is the piece that you run after.
Yeah.
That's
You know what I mean?
powerful.
It's never been done before.
Right.
But maybe if I put some energy into this, this could happen.
I
And
could
it
pull it
starts
off.
there.
I could pull it
I
off.
could pull this off. And then someone else is like, you know what? This is the perfect window because this happened. This person turned out, this politically, this happened. There's a window here that maybe if we put some energy in this, you could get to here. And if you get to here, you can get to here. And if you get to here, maybe this and this will happen. You can get to here.
That's
And
it.
I saw that in the book. That's the thing that made the book come alive to me, is that maybe. And then he presented that maybe to a team. That maybe was presented to his wife. And then everyone at some point says, okay, let's see where this goes. Because he said, if I don't win here, I'm done.
Yeah.
So then there's room for another maybe, right? And then it just keeps going from there.
But he had to get in.
Yeah.
There was a challenge just to get in. And then when he got in, some things happened.
Right.
But yeah, I agree, Martin. That's that seed that maybe time. If I just do this, if I just hang in there, if I just keep going tomorrow, let me see what happens tomorrow.
Yeah. I love that about it, that it wasn't a perfect journey, and that you get a chance to see. I think that when you see the results of what you watch, you think it makes you feel like there was kind of like this rose-colored
like
lens,
perfectly,
right?
Yeah, it's like linear.
Yeah,
Went smooth.
Yeah, because you know how it turned out, right? But it's like you
Right.
said, you get that inkling, and I always, listen to people when they speak, and one of the things that somebody was saying, I forgot which speaker he was saying, but he was like, when you listen to that intuition is from God. You know what I mean? I'm a spiritual person, so it's like when you listen to that, it's like when you get that feeling like maybe I could pull this off, or that maybe that little bit is called intuition. They're pushing you in that direction to say maybe I could pull it off. That's when you need to take action and be able to kind of move, but it's never like perfect.
Yep.
Well said.
Man, we could just let that just sit in the air for a minute. I didn't even look down to see comments and stuff. I just got locked up in this conversation, man. I appreciate you guys so much.
I don't think there was many comments. They was like, these jokers is going on and on. We just gonna let them ride. Yeah, I don't think it was that many.
No, good.
I appreciate y'all having me, man. I appreciate you letting me jump in for a little bit.
As always, thank you. Stefan, thank you as well, my friend.
Take care.
All right, good stuff. All right. I'm going to jump off as well. Thank you so much. Yes.
Have a good day. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you, Martin. Appreciate everything.
Hey, real quick, seriously, are you in Toronto for CanFit this year?
I am for a brief session, so we can hook up. I'll tell you, I got like one session though.
Oh yeah, okay. So fly in, fly out.
Yeah, it's like a in and out type of deal. But
okay, cool.
Yeah, I'll shoot you all the details. I know you got to close up, so let's jump offline. I'll give you the details.
Okay, sounds good. All right, thank you.
All right, bro. You got it.
All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for a core conversation. That was deep. Appreciate you all joining us. Who is still here? Leo, Honey, Phil. What's going on? Phil Griffin and Tammy. Thank you guys. We're back at it. We have Miss Lynn Cochran tomorrow, and Ali Green is our guest. So it'll be fun. Tammy, that's a new drop for just confirm that before we started. So, all right. Take care, everyone. See you tomorrow.